By the way, Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar admitted her party is responsible for the DHS shutdown. Listen to this.
As many of you know, Democrats said we are not going to pass the appropriations bill for the Department of Homeland Security unless they agreed to 10 reforms, simple things like unmasking ICE agents when they were patrolling our communities.
Florida gubernatorial candidate Byron Donalds joins us this morning. All right, Congressman, you heard it right there, but the question is, what do voters think? Do they blame Republicans more than Democrats?
No, they blame Democrats because Democrats have been playing games with TSA and national security over the last 2 months. And it's all cynical political BS simply because the Democrats still cannot take the fact that they lost the 2024 presidential election. They do not want secure borders. They do not want interior enforcement of immigration. And the Democrats do not want to deport criminal illegal aliens. They want to protect them. The American people have never supported this type of position. That's why Donald Trump won the midterms. So whatever deal Mike Johnson and John Thune think they have, that's not with my vote. I'm not agreeing to that deal because we have a responsibility to fund all of ICE's operations and all of Customs and Border Patrol's operations. And let's be very clear, if you're not funding that, then you're not taking the security of the nation seriously. We already know the Democrats do not care about the security of this nation.
Next one for you. Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida signing the state's version of the Save America Act. That's the voter ID bill. Almost immediately, a coalition of voting and civil rights organizations sued. Why is voter ID so controversial? I don't get it.
It's controversial to Democrats because this is the only way they have a chance to win elections if you don't have strict controls on elections. And what you have to do in elections, which what we do in Florida, and we thank Governor DeSantis for signing this piece of legislation, it's only going to make things even more secure in our state, is that we treat our elections incredibly seriously. We make sure that ballots are carefully handled as like evidence in a criminal trial or a civil trial, because you want to make sure that you're protecting the ballot and the franchise of the American people. So the Democrats, they sue, and quite frankly, they sue all the time on all kind of ridiculous reasons, but they sue because they want weakness in the controls of our elections, so it helps them find votes to win elections. That's why they sue.
It's crazy. Very quickly, 30 seconds, new polling shows healthcare is the #1 worry among Americans. This is voters apparently less concerned about inflation, crime, and immigration, which used to be top issues. Is that what you're hearing from voters?
Yeah, healthcare is a real problem, and let's also understand this. Healthcare inflation is out of control because of the Democrat policy which governs healthcare in the United States, the Unaffordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. It was designed to increase the cost of health insurance in our country to force all Americans into a single-payer healthcare system. That's how it was constructed. It is not working. The Democrats refuse to make any concessions because they want to protect their policy framework that would drive people into higher costs, higher premiums, and higher deductibles. It's insane policy. We need to change it at the federal level, and states need to be focused on price transparency, making sure people have a clear view on the prices that they're going to pay, and then also lowering prescription drugs the way President Trump is doing with Trump RX.
We'll have to leave it right there, but we covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much. Congressman Byron Donalds talking to us this morning. Thank you, sir.
Can you believe things just got heated and it's turning into a political firestorm? Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is at the center of a growing controversy, and now top voices from the Republican Party are firing back hard. What started as a statement has now exploded into a full-blown political clash. Critics are calling it reckless. Supporters say it's being twisted. But here's the real question. What was actually said, and why is it causing this level of outrage? Because behind the headlines, there's a deeper story unfolding, and it could have serious political consequences. Stay with me because the details might surprise you. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're new here, do let us know where you're watching us from. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications so you never miss a video. Video credit goes to the original creators for every video used in this episode. Let's get into the video and I'll be right back with more commentaries.
I find it utterly ridiculous that this administration can gut almost half of the staff of the Department of Education, eliminate millions in funding, direct the illegal closure of the entire department, and then turn around and pretend that the fundamental operations and responsibilities of the department will still be preserved.
A parent confronting the school and the school or personnel lying about it, and even fabricating and doctoring documents, changing the child's name on assignments that were handed in. I mean, just imagine what this looks like in practice if you are not allowed to say that the child is using a different name or a different gender identity. So you're using one name and one set of pronouns with the child in class, and their parents come in and suddenly you have to switch. You're using a different name and a different set of pronouns.
I find it utterly ridiculous that this administration can gut almost half of the staff of the Department of Education, eliminate millions in funding, direct the illegal closure of the entire department, and then turn around and pretend that the fundamental operations and responsibilities of the department will still be preserved. A parent confronting the school and the school or personnel lying about it, and even fabricating and doctoring documents, changing the child's name on assignments that were handed in. I mean, just imagine what this looks like in practice if you are not allowed to say that the child is using a different name or a different gender identity. So you're using one name and one set of pronouns with the child in class, and their parents come and suddenly you have to switch. You're using a different name and a different set of pronouns. This is absolute madness. For years, Americans have been told that the United States Department of Education exists to protect students, uphold civil rights, and ensure equal opportunity in schools across the country. That mission has long been presented as a safeguard for families. But critics now argue that those protections are being weakened as staffing is reduced, guidance is rolled back, and enforcement offices are scaled down. In a recent debate, Kevin Kiley raised concerns about how these changes affect families on the ground, particularly in California. He described situations in which schools allegedly withheld information from parents, sparking a broader conversation about transparency and parental rights in education. According to Kiley, the issue is not simply partisan politics. It is about whether parents retain the right to know what is happening in their children's classrooms. He argues that when administrative systems prioritize internal policies over open communication with families, trust begins to erode. The larger question, as he frames it, is whether educational institutions can maintain credibility if parents feel excluded from important decisions affecting their children. They hollowed out the Office of Civil Rights, yet claim that they can still carry out their legal obligation to protect students from discrimination. They fired the entire legal team that provided guidance to states on how to implement IDA, and yet claim that they will still be able to provide equal opportunity to kids with disability. Republicans and the administration should be honest about what is happening here. Object abandonment of the statutory duties and the congressional authority.
Knowing all of that, here's Ilhan Omar on our immigration system under this president and the job that you're doing.
This is certainly not what the founding fathers of the American dream were thinking about when they said, you know, that when they set out to write the Constitution.
What's your reaction to that?
Unlike the Biden administration, we're following the Constitution. We're enforcing the law. We're not ignoring the law. And you're right. The proper, assimilation is important, and it's going to be required. Not only that, when they come here on a legal program, they're required to be self-sufficient. They have to prove they're self-sufficient. So a lot of them, first thing they're doing to get here is get on the public dole. President Trump put his foot down, and like I said earlier, we're doing a deep dive on thousands and thousands of files, and we'll hold people accountable. I'm so tired of them pulling the race card all the time,
right.
Because we're doing this racist. ICE has arrested people from 100.
They thought they could corner Tom H-Man on live TV, but instead Ilhan Omar and the entire Democrat panel looked completely blindsided. When immigration fraud, deportations, and the Constitution came up, the room shifted fast. This is what happens when rhetoric collides with enforcement. And sir, it's good to have you back on the show. Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation. It's not even a nation. It's just a people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. That's a fraud. Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story, that's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that? You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question who reviewed the file and says, you know, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up who was president who run DOJ. So you pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at but this fraud investigator who I know personally. One of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file.
So now, the lines are clearly drawn. On one side, defenders of Ilhan Omar say this is political targeting. On the other hand, members of the Republican Party insist accountability is long overdue. And as this situation continues to develop, one thing is certain: this story isn't going away anytime soon. But what do you think? Is this justified criticism or political overreaction? If you value conversations that go deeper than headlines, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on your notifications so you never miss future discussions. This channel exists because of you, and conversations like this matter because you engage. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay compassionate, and most importantly, stay active in the dialogue. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.